Ruth Bader Ginsburg is one of the most influential and vocal Supreme Court judges to ever sit on the bench. Her support of equal rights for both women and minorities allowed for the passage of monumental rulings from the Supreme Court. Ginsburg used her personal struggle against gender discrimination to fuel her passion for equal rights. As a young student, her mother was her main inspiration, who unfortunately died the day before her high school graduation, where Ginsburg emerged top of her class. Ginsburg went to Cornell University after high school and transferred to Harvard Law. She battled the challenges of motherhood, taking care of her husband who was diagnosed with cancer, and extreme gender discrimination while attending the most prestigious university in America, where she was one in 9 females in a class of 500. Ginsburg faced gender-based discrimination from the highest-ranking officials at Harvard, one of which invited her to dinner and chastised her for taking a man's place at Harvard Law. When she graduated, tied for first in her class at Harvard, Ginsburg finished her education at Columbia Law, where she once again emerged top of her class. One would think that her vast accomplishments would allow her to be successful after graduation. However, Ginsburg was rejected from 13 law firms because of her gender. She says, "I have 3 strikes against me. 1, I was Jewish, 2, I was a woman, and 3, I was a mother." Ginsburg would eventually become a secretary at a law firm and would be paid significantly less than her male coworkers. She would travel abroad for 2 years before becoming a professor at Columbia University, and one of the first women professors there to earn her tenure. Ginsburg also directed the Women's Rights Project of the American Civil Liberties Union in 1970, where she argued 6 landmark cases in front of the Supreme Court, most of which involved cases regarding gender-based discrimination.
Sex, like race, has been made the basis for unjustified, or at least unproved assumptions concerning an individual's potential to perform or to contribute to society. These distinctions have a common effect. They help keep woman in her place, a place inferior to that occupied by men in our society.
She still faced discrimination despite her achievements. She even went so far as to hide her pregnancy from her coworkers, fearing that they would think that she was inferior and incapable. Ginsburg was noticed by Jimmy Carter, who appointed her to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, where she served for 13 years. Bill Clinton would notice her as well, and would appoint her to the Supreme Court in 1993, where she still holds a position. Ginsburg is known for voicing her opinion and providing guidance, not caring what anyone else thinks. She also believes that major social changes shouldn't be determined by courts, but from Congress. Many ask if she's happy with the amount of women on the Supreme Court. Her response? When will I be satisfied with the amount of women on the Supreme Court? When there are 9. Ginsburg has been the loudest voice of reason on the Supreme Court, influencing many landmark cases, like writing the majority in U.S. v. Virginia, determining that qualified women could not be denied admission to Virginia Military Institute. She supported Lilly Ledbetter in Ledbetter v. Goodyear, where a female worker was being paid less than her male coworkers. Ginsburg worked with former President Obama to pass his first piece of legislation, the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act of 2009. She also voted for the Obergefell v. Hodges that legalized gay marriage in 2015. Although her outspoken opinions are helpful most of the time, she once got in some hot water over calling Trump a faker and saying that she couldn't imagine a Supreme Court under him. Ginsburg may be the oldest Supreme Court judge at the age of 84, but she is by far the most resilient. She has never missed a day on the bench, even through her chemotherapy and the death of her husband. Ginsburg also works with a personal trainer every day and claims that she can lift more than any of her fellow Supreme Court judges. She even gained her own following among young people and throughout the media, through her outspoken opinions and overall attitude. She's even become a character on SNL.
Decades to come. Here to comment is liberal Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
It is safe to say that Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg will not be resigning anytime soon, and she will continue to champion for the rights of both women and minorities.